Hey, welcome back. This is lesson 43, Inequalities Graphs. So we're going to be graphing our answers to inequalities, and like you saw when we did that Desmos activity, when we solve an inequality, it's not just one answer. It's sometimes a whole set of answers, sometimes it's an infinite number of answers. So something, for example, like this. You must be younger than 12 years old to order from the kids' menu. Okay. I'm going to translate that situation into an inequality. So younger than would connect with the word less than, right? You have to be less than 12 years old to order from the menu. And I'm just going to use the word, I don't know, I'm going to use the variable x. So x has to be less than 12. And another example, you have to be at least 45 inches tall to ride King to Ka at Six Flags. Again, that word at least, that's a pretty common one for a lot of real-world situations. You have to be at least 16 to drive. You have to be at least 18 to go into the military. You have to be at least 21 to drink. You have to be at least, 18 to vote. So all of these different words and phrases use the term at least. You have to be at least 45 inches to ride a ride at Six Flags. So at least 45 means you could be 45 inches, but you also have to be taller than 45 inches. So greater than or equal to 45. And I'm going to use the variable h because we're talking about like height. You have to be at least this many tall. Unless it specifically gives you a variable, you don't have to use a specific one. You can use whichever one you want. Most of the time I just use x because it's just easier. But sometimes if I feel like it'll help, I might use a letter related to the problem. Okay. So now we're going to graph that. So what does that look like? I have to be younger than 12 years old. So 12 is an important number and it should be on my number line. But what they're really saying is I have to be less than 12. So I'm going to use certain types of dots. And we talked about this in our first Desmos activity. We're going to use certain dots to decide whether my answer will include the number or not include the number. So in order to make my information clear, I'm going to add 2 more numbers to the left of 12, and I'm going to add 2 numbers to the right of 12 going in order, right? So 12, 11, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Sorry, my 14 looks like a 19. It likes to do that to me, and I don't know why. I'm going to fix it because it drives me a little crazy. 14. There we go. So because this is a less than symbol, that means I can't be 12. I have to be younger than 12. So I'm going to use an open circle around the 12. And younger means this direction. Right? I could be 11, I could be 10, I could be 9, I could be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I could be 0, but then I'm not really a person. Over here, we talk about height. So 45 obviously is a key number that needs to go on my number line, and then I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to add 2 numbers to the right of that number, and I'm going to add 2 numbers to the left of that number. I'm going to space that a little too much. You have to be at least 45, so I could equal 45. If I'm 45 inches tall, that's okay. So I'm going to color that dot in on 45. But I also could be greater, which is in this direction. These numbers are greater than 45. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but take a look at this, the way this less than sign is pointing, right? Isn't it pointing this way? And this is the way my arrow is pointing. And same thing with my greater than sign. Isn't my greater than sign pointing to the right? And isn't that way the way my arrow is going? So we're going to do 2 more examples. I'm going to walk you through some steps for graphing an inequality. Make sure you have all this copied. Alright, so our final 2 examples, and I'm going to read through these steps as we go. I'm going to do both examples at the same time. I'm going to do one example, read all the directions, and then do the second one with you, read all the directions again. Alright, so steps for graphing an inequality. First, you're going to create a number line. There you go. You're going to start with the number given to you in the center. So in this case, the number is 3. So I'm going to make a line in the middle, and I'm going to write 3. Draw 2 lines on either side. So 1, 2 on this side, 1, 2 on that side. Now it looks nice and evenly spaced out. and then it says label them. So if 3 is in the middle, 3, the next number would be 4, the next number would be 5, and then if I 3 and I count down, it would be 2, and then 1. So create the number line, start with the number given in the middle, 2 numbers to the left, 2 numbers to the right, and label. Decide on the type of circle. So I'm going to have an open circle when the value is not equal to the number given. So in this case, this says x is greater than 3, which means it does not equal 3, right? There's no equal sign underneath the less than or greater than sign, which means 3 will have an open circle. This number has to be greater than 3, so 3 is not greater than 3. Once I pick my circle, then I'm going to draw the arrow, shading where the answers are. So if I want greater than 3, which numbers are greater than 3? Not 2 and 1, 4 and 5. So I'm going to draw an arrow pointing to the right. Now, if your variable is written first, so in this case my variable is written first right here, you're going to shade in the direction of your arrow. So again, notice that your less than sign is pointing this way, and if I drew like an arrow from it, notice it's pointing to the right, just like my arrow is. Okay? If your variable is not written first, you want to consider rewriting it. So sometimes when you're done solving, you might have an answer that looks like this, which is fine. You're done, right? This is what it says. But reading it this way is a little tricky. So we're going to talk about, when we're solving in our next lesson, just how to rewrite that. And it's really, really quite simple. All you're going to do is you're going to take the two numbers, right? My variable, I'm going to rewrite it over here. And my number 3, I'm going to rewrite it over here. But everything flipped around. So the symbol, notice, my symbol right now is pointing, here's my point, is pointing at the 3. So it still has to look that way. So notice everything literally, I call it a pancake flip, because everything flips over. So this whole thing flips over. So the x flips, the symbol flips, and the 3 flips to the other side. So these are equal to each other. So again, it's easier to write it this way. Notice, right? My arrow is pointing to the right. So we don't want to get confused and think, oh, the arrow is going to point to the left here. You have to rewrite your variable in the first spot. All right, here we go. One more time, all the way through. Create a number line. Start with the number given in the center. Draw 2 lines on either side of your number line. And now we're going to label them. If you recall, negatives are kind of backwards, right? Think about where 0 would be. It would be over here somewhere. So I have to count backwards to get to 0. -5, -4. I know it seems confusing, but remember that's how our number line works. It goes all the way to 0. The negatives get larger and larger and larger, which really means the numbers are smaller, right? I owe somebody $5 is better than if I owe somebody $6, or better than if I owe somebody $7, right? Or somebody $8. So remember, our number line gets a little confusing when you're dealing with negative numbers. Now I have to decide, do I want an open circle or a closed circle? Because it's equal to -6, then I want that shaded in, closed circle. Again, if my variable is first, I can use this to help me decide, right? Look at where it's pointing. It's pointing to the left. So these answers to the left are less than or equal to -6. And you're done. Okay, so a really quick review of how to graph an inequality. Again, starting with the number in the middle, label your number line, decide on the type of circle you're going to use, an open circle for less than or greater than, or closed circle for less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and then you draw your arrow in the direction of where your answers will be. And if your variable is written first, then your arrow should point to the same direction that your symbol is pointing. So that greater than symbol is pointing to the right, and that less than symbol is pointing to the left. All right, make sure you have this copied down. Looking forward to seeing you soon.